searching for light. Cloud thoughts can't tell wrong from right. Jesus, help me, I need you inside. Breaking down, but I'll never give up. In your name, I'm calling for love. Tears fall like rain from the sky. In this storm, I'm praying, asking why. Pain cuts deep, but I'll fight the tide. Jesus, guide me, be my light inside. Breaking down, but I'll never give up. In your name, I'm calling for love. Heavy waves trying to keep me down, but I'll rise up from this battleground. Whispers of hope in the darkest night. I feel your presence. You're my guiding light. Jesus, I believe. You're my saving grace. Lead me through this dark place. Jesus, I believe. You're my saving grace. Lead me through this dark place. In the struggle, I won't lose my way. Jesus got me to a brighter day. Winds of doubt try to pull me apart. In this battle, I lean on your heart. Lost in shadows, in your hand I fight. Jesus, your love is none of its kind. Drifting aimlessly, but your path is clear. With you guiding me, I've nothing to fear. Jesus, I believe. You're my saving grace. Lead me through this dark place. Jesus, I believe. You're my saving grace. Lead me through this dark place. This dark place. Breaking down, but I'll never give up. In your name, I'm calling for love. Heavy waves trying to keep me down, but I'll rise up from this battleground. Whispers of hope in the darkest night. I feel your presence. You're my guiding light. Jesus, I believe. You're my saving grace. Lead me through this dark place. Jesus, I believe. You're my saving grace. Lead me through this dark place.
Join us around Jim Harold's campfire, where real people share real stories of encountering ghosts, shadow people, UFOs, cryptids, and everything in the realm of the paranormal. We don't exaggerate. We don't make things up. We don't have to. The true stories are chilling in their own right. It's Jim Harold's campfire, where ordinary people share their extraordinary experiences. Listen to the podcast here on Spotify today.
Hey everybody, I'm Arthur Brooks. I'm a Harvard professor and a New York Times bestselling author studying happiness and how you can get happier and bring more happiness to others. I have a podcast called Office Hours where I share science and stories behind building a better life. From love and work to meaning and purpose, each episode is like a short class in living well, practical, research-backed, and made for people who want to get happier every day. So listen to Office Hours with me, Arthur Brooks, on Spotify and start building the life that you really want.
Hey, this is Ross Golan. I'm a songwriter and the host of the podcast, And the Writer Is. Do you love music? Of course you do. Everyone loves music. But do you know the stories behind the people who create the soundtrack to your life? Come and join us every week as we sit down with the artists and songwriters behind some of the biggest songs in history. Listen to And the Writer Is on Spotify.
Steps were shaking on the water, eyes on waves, I sank again. You reached down through all that chaos, pulled me up, called me friend. Every chain starts breaking when I call your name. Every fear keeps fading as I lift my breath. You are the lion over.
What's poppin', chat? Oh, I need to pull that. How's everyone tonight, chat? I'm muted. Alright, chat, let's get into it.
Enemy soldier incoming. Primary objective is to eliminate all targets.
Hostile armor broken. Switching mags. Inserting additional armor.
Hostile psych bombardment incoming. Same condition, yellow.
I don't add people on Discord.
Inserting additional armor. Changing mags.
Circle is closing in. Relocating safe zone.
Of course, dude.
Psych bombardment incoming. Same condition, yellow.
How, dude? Account created, trying to get bammed. Yep, this kid's about to die.
Thank you, Donna. Back on mission.
Yep, so we fly away to a brand new land.
Hostile psych bombardment incoming. Same condition, yellow. Only 25 remain. Hostile psych bombardment incoming. Same condition, yellow.
I'm sorry about that, Chad. I had to itch my ear. fucking bozo, dude.
Hostile cycle bombardment incoming. Same condition, yellow. Cradle bomb incoming. Expect the enemy to bring the rain. Detonated cradle bombs in the AO. Watch for chemical contamination. Intel reports nearby terminal. Use it to find threats in the AO. Terminal scan complete. HVT located nearby. Circle is moving.
Thank you, Donna.
The cradle bomb is clearing. Enter the blast zone to obtain valuable loot. Hostile cycle bombardment incoming. Same condition, yellow.
I need one more of my AO is upgraded all the way. Let's get armor.
Valuable guild shipment in the AO. Expect opposition.
Wow. My team, dude, I swear.
Threat has escaped. Work harder to get them next time.
Loot, up for grabs.
That tower.
Hostile cycle bombardment incoming. Same condition, yellow. You've got a collapse inbound. Safe zone relocated.
Loot, up for grabs.
bombs. Prepare for nearby contact fire. Cradle bomb has been
Loot, up
detonated
for
in the
grabs.
war zone.
Loot, up for grabs.
Of course, that gun's there. I have to have more those.
Guild surveillance drones detected in the area. Take them down. Cradle bomb is clearing, but we received intel there's valuable supplies in the blast zone.
They should be pushing them anytime, shit.
Collapse is inbound.
Of course, when I don't need weapon upgrades everywhere. Kid's lucky I don't like sniping in this.
Intel is
Tired.
tracking a guild surveillance drone in your AO. Eliminate it.
Hostile, site bombardment incoming. Stay in condition, Yellow.
Supply drops are being deployed to the war zone.
Yeah.
Keep clear of the circle. Get to the safe zone.
Hostile, site bombardment incoming. Stay in condition, Yellow.
Reloading.
Alright, well. One game's enough of that. On the U.S. agents. I'll be right back, chat. We're back, chat.
Resurgence. Survive the countdown to earn redeployment. Secure kills. Enemy dropping into the AO.
Switching mags. Reloading. Pinpoint incoming. Changing mags.
But I'd like to know what's up with my FPS.
It's me. Switching mags. Dropping assault pack.
You know, I wish stems worked for me the way they did everyone else.
Soldier incoming.
Back in the AO.
Stand by for redeployment. Loadout drop headed your way.
Under fire.
But it's not to sit.
Only 25 remain.
Reloading.
This game, boy.
Back on mission.
Surging. Go get your revenge.
RCXD ready.
Changing mags.
Dude.
Back in the AO.
Game makes no sense, dude.
Switching mags.
Got gas moving in.
Fuck you, asshole.
Can needs to get a flippin' life, dude.
Changing mags.
Enemies are dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Get me out, dude. So I wish I got floppies like other streamers.
More points you earn, the faster that clock ticks. Precision airstrike available.
Target area marked. You're cleared hot.
Your objective simple. Eliminate all bounty targets. Go again.
Reloading.
Friendly loadout drops on the way. You're losing ground. Move it. Enemy soldier incoming.
Changing mags. Under fire.
You've got a loadout drop inbound. Hostile airstrike incoming.
Clean. Never in doubt.
25 are still active in the AO.
Shit. Used a revive.
Dude, does this sub just suck now?
Back in the
We're
AO.
returning you to the front. Earn this.
I'm hit.
dropping into the area. Watch the skies.
Incoming shots! Switching mags!
No, the rock, dude.
Back on mission.
Time for vengeance. You're redeploying.
It's so dumb.
Under fire!
And he's just sat there, wait on there, different kid.
Defeat is only a mindset.
Alright, chat, we're gonna move the reactions now. Give me a second. We're back, chat.
You know, odd story. You know, you hear a lot of stories from Appalachia. Stories about odd things happening in the woods, especially at night. You hear familiar voice holler at you from the woods, but yet that person you know is not there. And you're told to always shut your windows at night and keep them closed. And I've had a lot of people ask me, was any of that any truth to that, or have you ever seen anything or heard anything out in them woods? And well, I'm going to tell you, I have. I've been all over these old mountains here. I've been miles and miles from the closest road or house or anything like that. Places where they probably ain't been 10 humans in 100 years. And I've been out places so deep in the woods, and all of a sudden you hear somebody holler your name, and they ain't a soul a mile from you probably. Or you'll be walking along, and all of a sudden you'll hear a whistling off off to the left or the right of you. Just sends shivers down your spine, and you sure don't want to turn around. You just keep on walking, act like you never heard it. But I'm gonna tell you about this one time I come across something that, well, to this day kind of sticks to me. I'm not going to say Bigfoot's real, and I won't say Bigfoot ain't real. I'm just kind of in the middle on that one because of all the crazy stuff that goes on. But I've got this ramp patch. It's probably 2 miles, 1.5, 2 miles back in the mountains from the closest road you can drive in on. And early one morning, we went in the spring to pick a mess of ramps. Me and my wife were taking our time because we was kind of waiting, taking our time so the sun would come up, kind of warm up a little bit before we dropped off into where the patch was. And we came into this more open area where there's some bigger trees and the sun was shining. We stopped for a minute, just kind of warm up in the sun. And I noticed to my left, there was this one tree, and about 12 to 13 feet up in that tree was these claw marks. There was 4 of them. And they wasn't normal. They wasn't like a bear climbed the tree and clawed down, and they were straight, just 4 straight claw marks. And they was probably, each claw was probably as wide as my 2 fingers put together. And they's only on that one side. They wasn't on the other side to match it. And I walked down into that tree and I looked up to that, and there's no way a black bear did that. If it was, it was the biggest black bear that ever was found in Appalachia. And I just sat there for probably 20 minutes trying to figure out how that could be made, and I never could come up with a logical idea. That's a strange thing to see. Needless to say, the whole time we was picking ramps, I was looking over my shoulder, and walking out, I kept an eye on what was behind me coming out.
No,
I
you
have
better.
seen pictures and heard stories of people capturing weird footprints. And yes, we have a video to back it up that my husband so lovingly went out and got you guys because it was like a -2 and I was not about to do it. So it was either last week, it was definitely last week, my area had around a foot of snow. And we didn't leave the house for a few days because of it, because we couldn't. So if my husband had not looked outside of the kitchen window, we probably would have never seen these footsteps. Now, they start at the road and they lead all the way to my house, but not just to my porch, underneath it. They lead to underneath my porch, which is just not fantastic. So my husband went outside to check it out because is someone underneath our house? And he followed them out to the road and noticed that they change. At the beginning of the road, they seem really small, like animal-like footprints. And by the time they get to the porch, they are huge, human-sized footprints that lead underneath our house.
Yo, look at this. There's like steps going to our house. It actually looks like they're going under the house. But from the road. Like, they're so small and then they just get huge.
That's a little creepy.
Okay, so we lived about a mile from where we live at now, not very far. And then we lived in a little trailer. We had been hearing for a month, we had been hearing like knocks on our door at night. Never during the day, always during night, pretty late at night. We had been hearing knocks on the door, and when they would knock, our screen door would, rattle, so we knew it was something physically knocking on our door. We could never find out what it was. We even put a wildlife camera out to catch whatever it was, and actually the camera quit probably about 4 days after we put it out. But anyway, several times this had happened over the course of months and months. And we had a couple friends over. Two of our friends came over one night. And it started happening while they were there late at night. And, it kind of freaked them out a little bit. They were checking the door, and finally my husband and our friend was outside with flashlights looking all around the trailer because they were flipping out and they didn't know what it could be. Never found anything, couldn't really understand what it was. And this had happened for literally quite some time, all the time at night. And it was kind of scaring the kids a little, because they were witnessing it as well. And they went home that night, and the next morning when we got up, and you tell me this is so crazy. We got up, we were getting ready to go somewhere.
Buddy, your account was
Our
created
was
7
locked.
minutes ago. Get
It
out
was
of
locked.
here.
No one could have gotten in it to do anything. Have y'all ever heard of the movie Stay Awake? Well, it was the DVD Stay Awake was laying in our seat in our car. It was so weird. Like, we only have a few neighbors, and we asked everybody, did they stick that in our car because, I don't know, maybe they wanted us to watch it, I don't know, or something. No one claimed it. I have no idea how it got there, but that was just creepy.
Hi again. Did I tell you guys about the scary story or the scary house, the haunted house actually in Latonia, Kentucky that I used to live in 2002 to 2004? Oh, 3107 Watson Avenue. 3107 Watson Avenue is a 2-family house that my then best friend lived upstairs with her daughter, and I lived downstairs with my one and only son at the time. It was the one and only year, the first year that I lived there, that I was essentially single in my life. I had broken up with my high school boyfriend at the time, and my son and I moved into this adorable 2-family house. Anyway, my son was 2 going on 3. What did I say, 2002? Yeah. So he was 2 going on 3, and he used to see something called the man. The man was something that he would see behind me or away from me.
That's
like, for
creepy.
example, if we were sitting at a 4-top table at a restaurant, and my dad would be sitting on one side and I'd be sitting on the other, and then my son in his little booster seat would be sitting right there, he would look right across the table at the empty chair and start talking about the man. So we were not new to the idea of extraterrestrial? No. What's the word? Ghosts. Why do I gotta always make fancy? But it's gonna bother me all day that I can't remember the word that I'm looking. Anyway, we weren't new here. Paranormal. There you go. So we had been dealing with the man sightings since I was still with his dad in the previous apartment that I lived in prior to the breakup. My way of dealing with that would just be like, hey, stop talking about it. Because it used to freak me out. He definitely did see the man, plenty. while we were there, unfortunately. After some research and a psychic intervention and everything else, I was able to identify what that was about. But this story isn't about that. This story is about a ghost named Sarah. I was laying in bed one night and I was reading my son a story. And I kind of had like my arm like propped up on the bed as we were laying, and he's like peeking through the crook of my arm from my back and like kind of peeking. And it was giving like you could see onto the other side of me. And I looked at my son and I said, "Hey, what do you see?" Because he was really peering. And everything in me was assuming that he was going to talk about the man, because that's normally what he does. If he starts to hyper focus on something, he would talk about the man. But this time he sits up, he looks right at me, and he goes, "Mama, she likes this house, but she doesn't like you."
Creepy.
So I freeze. I freeze in complete and utter terror, unable to turn around. But again, I can still see the dresser, the thing, the frame, the CD player, the alarm clock, the stack of CDs, all the things. I could see it in my mind's eye without turning around. But then I also saw, in my imagination, I saw a girl wearing a red dress with some type of a, I don't know, floral, some type of a print on it, holding something in her left arm and kind of leaning down. And her face was too old for her body. That's how I used to explain it. That's still how I see it and feel it in my mind. This was not me turning around and seeing it. I don't think I've ever actually seen focused, like, in-person ghost before. But in my mind's eye, my imagination, I saw her. But my entire body, top to bottom, was covered with dread and goosebumps and get out of here. So it took me a long time. I don't know how long. It could have been 10 seconds, but it felt like 3 decades to turn around. And I promise you, when I did, I was more scared that she was not standing in front of the dresser than I think I would have been. I don't know. I probably would have. I don't know. But either way, I got up. I grabbed my son. I grabbed my car keys. We walked out of the door, barefoot. I got in the car, Britney Spears style, stuck him on my lap. I know, not the greatest parenting, but I was on the run. And I drove 4 blocks away to my best friend's house. And I did not go back in that house for 4 days. When I did decide to go back, I met a psychic medium there. I tried to call my priest, and they told me that it doesn't really work like that. Holy cross. Anyway, and so I met this psychic medium who is a friend of mine's aunt. And when she came in with me, because I wouldn't even go in without her, she explained to me that it was a young girl named Sarah, and she had Down syndrome, and that she had died not in this house, but she had died nearby, and that she just chose this house for comfort, and she's been there, and she always will be. So her theory was that she was just a roaming spirit that had selected this house, and that for whatever reason she was attached to the house but not attached to me, and that all I have to do is tell her it to go away, and that you're not welcome here, and that she will go away. So I did that. And I occasionally would feel a cold spot in the hallway. Like when I would walk through, it would be normal room temperature or warm. And then for whatever reason, this little spot in the hallway would be cold. I did hear things occasionally at night, and my car windows kept getting busted open, but I'm pretty sure that was an angry ex-boyfriend's ex-girlfriend. That's another story. But maybe it was Sarah. Maybe it was the ghost Sarah, and she was just, I told her to leave me alone. So, but 3107 Watson, that is a haunted house.
I had my first encounter with a cryptid, so that's exciting. I know it's fairly common in Appalachia, but I hadn't I've never experienced it before. When I was checking in, they were giving me a rundown on like the different pools, and the woman at the front had mentioned that one of the sites was really great for stargazing. And so I was like, okay, great. I'm going to go to the main one during the day, and then at night I'm going to go to the stargazing one. It's, I don't know, 8 o'clock, and I check in at the front to like make sure that I know where I'm going. And she mentions that it's like pretty rustic, but that there's little lanterns and just to stay on the road. So, of course, I was not a good little Girl Scout, and I did not bring any proper flashlights, and of course immediately got lost and got off of the road and kind of detoured over into the campgrounds, and probably should have headed back at that moment, but I was determined, and so I keep going and get to this area. I had thought that there would be people out there, that it would be lit. No, it is a grotto and very rustic. There's no lights, there's no lanterns, there's no solar bits. It's just darkness and dark skies. And there is nobody out there. I had assumed that there would be people. So I find the spot. It's a little eerie, and I'm just me and my cell phone and apparently no good sense. And I start to take my coat off. And as I'm starting to do that, I hear what sounds like Baba Yaga scream. And like, it sounds like an old lady screaming. And I know that there's coyotes and whatnot. And so I paused for a second and was like, this is really spooky. And definitely have the like hair on the back of my neck stand up. And I was like, I'm going to be fine. I'll be fine. Like, my guides would tell me if I wasn't supposed to be here. And as I do that, so I start to take my sweatshirt and my shirt off. And once I get them off, I hear clear as day some creature say or yell, "Stop." And so I pause for a second.
Chat will finish this tomorrow. I hope you have a blessed night.